Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys joining me for my analysis of the last day competition report for the Bassmaster Classic down at Grand Lake. Going to give you guys my overview of the tournament, let you guys know what I think about it, and as usual, I'd be curious to get your guys' opinion of that as well. Also guys, a couple quick housekeeping tips before we get into today's video. Just wanted to thank everybody out there that has been supporting the channel this week through subscribing and using all the links I put in my description. Just want you guys to know that's really appreciated by me and my family. So if you guys are enjoying the channel here and like what's going on here, just like to invite everybody to subscribe to the channel and use those links in the description. So it's much appreciated. Okay guys, man, I hate being right all the time on this, but again, I'm right. At the time of filming, guys, they still got about another, 45 minutes to an hour to fish in the Classic. But as I predicted, this tournament is going to get one spotlighting. Not only is it going to get one spotlighting, everyone in the top 5 for sure is spotlighting in this tournament here. So I want to talk a little bit about that as far as the Classic, being won like this, sort of give you guys my viewpoint on it, and talk about the bigger picture along with that. Now, I think a lot of people, guys, I've been doing these videos all week on the Classic, and when I made my prediction earlier in the week, I got a bunch of blowback. Oh, Randy, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know, there's a ton of different guys catching them shallow and grand. This tournament could get one on a spinnerbait. Guys, I know better than that. I've fished Grand Lake since 1968. I've spent thousands of days on it. I knew exactly how this tournament was going to get one, which it did get one spotlighting. And sort of wanted to talk to that a little bit because I know, I think Bassmaster made an attempt and let everybody out there made an attempt to show traditional bass fishing, but it's just not ever going to happen, guys. The Red Crest championship was won a couple weeks ago spotlighting. Bassmaster Classic was one spotlight last year. It's going to get one spotlight this year. First 2 tournaments for the Elite Series tournament's been one spotlight, and every tournament's going to get one spotlight. It's the same deal, guys. Just watch some of the Bass Live today. Watch the leaders. Every one of them are out there with their jerkbait hanging on the end of the rod, looking at their, forward-facing sonar, trolling back and forth in the middle of these staging coves, targeting bass that they're seeing by spotlighting. And even the thing about the thing you got to realize about the Classic guys on Grand Lake is a lot of people equate spotlighting with they're out in the middle of nowhere spotlighting these schools roaming out in open water, which happens a lot in most lakes. But Grand Lake, they are spotlighting those bass that are in tighter quarters. So if you see somebody next to a dock or next to the bank or something like that, take note, they are still spotlighting. I don't care if they're using perspective mode or just traditional, live scope, they're still doing it out there. Every one of them is doing it out there. It truly is a lifeline and umbilical cord. And I just wish not only the Classic, I don't want to take anything away from the guys that win the tournaments because they've been forced into doing this by Bassmaster and MLF. They're in order to compete, they've got to do it. But that still does not take away from the fact that any tournament win with live scope needs to have an asterisk next to it. Just like if Mark McGwire hitting 70 home runs back in the steroid days need to have an asterisk to it, that's how that happened. Because if you look at the leaders of the Bassmaster Classic and the winner of the Bassmaster Classic and the guys that finished in the top 5 in the Bassmaster Classic, if you took the fact that they are looking at a live image, real-time live image of a bass moving, and they're working their jerkbait and say, oh, there he is, get it, there he is, always moving. It's like, if you can actually see the fish and react to your lure before you even catch the fish, that is not a legitimate catch. That is not what bass fishing is. Fishing should be you're fishing to find the fish. You don't throw out there and catch the fish once you've seen it on a video game screen. That is an insult to the fish. It's an insult to the bass. It's an insult to the lake. It's an insult to everything out there. And another thing about that is like, I made this comment earlier about, Grand Lake going down the tube since there's so many tournaments there in the Wolf Creek facility. And people saying, well, Randy, look at the weights. They're still catching, this tournament's going to take it's going to take less than 60 to win it. It's going to take, upper teens to win it. And they're going to say, Grand Lake's fine. That's all it took, even back prior to forward-facing sonar. Guys, that is because of forward-facing sonar. The lake has deteriorated, and the only reason that you're seeing the catches that you saw were because of forward-facing sonar. If you took forward-facing sonar out of the mix this week at the Bassmaster Classic, you would have had a complete reduction, 25% reduction in the weight of the winning weight, and it would have taken 15 to 16 pounds today, as I predicted, to win the tournament if it wasn't for forward-facing sonar, because that creates this illusion that there's more fish in the lake than what there is, simply because you're targeting fish that have been protected for as long as the lakes have been around, that now have no hiding place out there. So from that standpoint, guys, just get used to it, and I'm still confident, guys. I'm still confident that MLF and Bassmaster are eventually going to do the right thing after they're pressured enough to do the right thing, and that we're going to get this taken away from the tournaments out there. But until it does, it's the same thing. You don't even have to read the tournament results. You don't even have to watch the tournament results, because it's the same thing every single time. Spotlight and scoping for bass, for open water, rogue, roaming fish, wolf packs of fish, schools of fish, whatever up there, ignoring everything else around you, glued to your live scope screen with your forward-facing minnow, your jerkbait, or your swim bait on it. That is what our sport has been transformed in over the last 2 years. And it's not going to change out there. And everybody out there says, Randy, get used to it. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, it's going somewhere, because people are full of it. They're tired of it. They don't want to see it. It's an insult to the sport. It's an insult to the tradition of the sport. It's an insult to the heritage of the sport. Has no place in it. And I thought Hank Parker made a great point in his podcast last week when he was talking about the PGA and Major League Baseball. They have technology available to them to allow the baseballs and the golf balls to go 30% further, but the PGA and the Major League Baseball establishment did the right thing, and they banned that technology because they don't want, all of a sudden the act of hitting a home run, or the act of scoring 65 in the final round of the Masters, to be diminished by advanced technology, which is happening here with bass fishing. It's the same thing. If Bassmaster and MLF would follow the lead of the PGA, the Pro Bowlers Tour, when they got rid of the purple hammer ball, because it gave the bowlers too much of an advantage, or the Major League Baseball, reeling back on the ball construction, if they would follow suit and do the right thing, and we'd go back to the pre-forward-facing sonar days, everything would be so much better. And right now, it's the only sport that doesn't have it. So anyway, get used to it, guys. Get used to every freaking tournament. There's going to be a continuing trend of anglers that you have never heard about. Not taking anything away from the anglers that I don't know. I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation. As forward-facing sonar continues to advance and become more dominant, the people that pick up on that are the younger generation of anglers out there. And it's not necessarily, it's just like Hank said in that, they don't have the bass fishing skills, but they are experts at reading electronic video game technology. It's the same with, every kid that you see in high school right now that's an expert at scrolling through a PS5 video game that nobody else could do, that was older. It's the same situation out there. You don't have to know anything about fish. You don't have to know anything about seasonal patterns. You don't have to know anything about a diversity of lure selections. You don't have to know 90% of what bass fishing is, as long as you have $50,000 worth of electronics and you can decipher what bass are doing in live imaging technology out there. It's not fishing. It's not. It's been reduced to a commercial venture of catching. So in my opinion, it's no different than throwing a gill net out there, having an electroshocking device. People say, oh, you can't make them bite, Randy. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, you wouldn't even know they were there to try to get them to bite if you didn't see them in live imaging on a video game. So that's a bogus argument with that. So anyway, like I said, guys, I was hoping that I was going to be wrong, but I knew I wasn't going to be wrong, and I know I'm not going to be wrong about any other tournaments moving forward out there. This is what bass fishing is now. It's not bass fishing like everybody grew up to love it. No, it has been morphed into something that is like some type of a mutant, lesser, activity than it's ever been before. So anyway, I think that as this continues to be the dominating factor, and as it continues to change the sport into something truly unrecognizable in our fishing out there, I'm still confident out there that with enough pressure that Bassmaster and MLF are going to be forced to do the right thing, and forced to go down the good road, and forced to be on the right side of history. But right now we're still we're still in the trenches fighting that fight. So anyway, guys, I just like to encourage everybody to contact Bassmaster, contact MLF, voice your opposition to this. This is not what we want our sport to turn into, and just see if we can get this changed for the better. So hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.